The following program, though incredibly nerdy, is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised, and you probably shouldn't watch if you're an overly sensitive pussy.
We are about there. Oh, we are about there, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. It's time. And we've got a lot to get into. So I'm sure you've seen some of the news that's out there. A lot going on. And I want to explain it. There's a lot of sort of layers to this. There's a lot of ways that we can look at it. But of course, yes, it sort of all begins with the fact that people have actually already seen the Avengers Doomsday trailer. The first one. Oh my God, I need to explain it. I need to talk about what's going on. So we're hella early today. And we're going to be breaking into all of that. And honestly, I'm probably going to put some of this out on the main channel. In some vids with a little bit of editing on it, and some of what we're going to talk about will go out on the Clips channel. But my God, there's a lot to get into, and so I guess we'll wait a little bit, just because we are early, and maybe some notifications are going out for people and everything like that. But we got to talk about the Avengers Doomsday trailer, the first trailer, and why people have seen it, and what's in it. And all the reports about what might be in the other ones. And yeah. So there's a lot to get into today. What do you guys think? Also, did you have a good weekend? What's going on with all of y'all? Let me know. Happy freaking holidays. Merry Christmas. Yeah, and all of that. So what's up? How's everybody doing? This is gonna be a crazy stream. I can feel it. Oh yeah, it's gonna get crazy. Yeah. No spoilers yet. I just came in to say hi. Yeah, we're going to wait on the spoilers. I don't know what to say, because they're technically spoilers, but they're spoilers for a trailer and potentially spoilers for a series of trailers. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. You know, some people maybe want to just go to the theaters, but I got to be honest. I think a lot of people are like, I'm not trying to go to the theaters to see no Avatar, you know? So I think a lot of people are like, dude, spoil that shit, you know? So maybe, I don't know, maybe some people really don't want the spoilers. Maybe some people are down, but we're going to get into it. And I also want to explain why I got bamboozled over the weekend. We'll talk about some concerns about the trailers. You know, I've seen in the Discord, and I've seen out on social media as well, some concerns that some folks might have about the trailer, potential lack of action, things of that nature. So we will get into all of that, man. It's going to be great. But either way, appreciate you guys. And I hope you guys are, having a good holiday season. I know there's crazy things going on in the world, and that sucks. But I hope that we can find some family time, some peace, some love, and some connection. And for my part, what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks and really going into next year all the way to Doomsday is a sort of rerun of the old Infinity War Endgame times, man. This is big time stuff, and we're gonna make a lot of content. We're gonna have a lot of streams. We're gonna get in here. We're gonna geek out. We're gonna nerd out. We're gonna speculate. So for my part, we will be decking the halls with bells of holy shit, you know, and nerding out. So it's gonna be great. First stream I've caught. I really like your content. Oh, thank you so much. You know, there might be some people coming in from the main channel. I just made a post. I just made a community post over there and basically said, hey, I fucked up. Yesterday I posted a leak video. That's now been proven false because of the real leaks that just came out. And I'm going to explain everything. And I did a community post over there. I already took the video down from yesterday. It's kind of a shame. It didn't blow up. It only did like 20K in a day. So it wasn't like crazy. But I still feel a little bit bad about it. I'll explain the whole thing in just a minute. So if you're coming over from the main channel, whether you're watching live or you're watching on the replay, really appreciate you. A lot of fun stuff happens over here and on the Clips channel as well. And going into 2026, it'll be more obvious how all the channels work together. We've been working on that behind the scenes. Just saw a few minutes, Our Man versus Baby. Yeah, we'll get into all of that. Hey, for those of you that are here often, do you guys remember when we watched that Young Avengers movie with the James Rhodes character, and we kind of, or I guess James Rogers? Did you remember that? There was some leaks about that. There's a lot we're gonna get into about that, but it's kind of cool. Leak description yesterday was fake. Yes, it was, and I'll explain all of that in a minute. But I'm just kind of waiting for more folks to get in here. Just saying good morning to everybody. Good morning. Expecting people to buy 4 different tickets to see the trailers is gatekeeping at its finest. Yeah, I understand that opinion. I'm not super thrilled about it either. I kind of wish they would drop it online for all of us. They definitely seem to be really trying to push people to theaters, but at the end of the day, they will be released publicly eventually, and you know, through streams like this. And I may or may not be seeing this trailer very soon. But either way, I'll probably make content on Thursday when it officially is revealed, and we'll kind of go over it in a more official capacity. But I'll explain what happened, because basically what happened was the encryption key didn't go out until like midnight last night. So people didn't have it. Soups claims he watched it. Look, I may or may not have watched it. You know, I'm not going to say that I watched it, but I will say that the encryption keys came in at basically midnight last night, and a lot of people have watched it. Yeah. So look, that's why we're streaming right now. That's why the title is what it is. That's what it is. Nerderotic confirmed Sadie Sink is MCU Jean Grey. Oh, really? Okay, so I saw Gary did a video about it, and he was sort of teasing it. I liked the post that he made about it. I had expected it was about Jean. I didn't actually watch his video, you know what I mean? But if that's true, then that would mean that, I mean, look, I don't know what he said in the video. So you're just telling me in chat, you know, I like to kind of verify things for myself. But if Gary is suggesting that based on his own sources and not just on what I have heard, then that would make like 2 pretty reliable people outside of the Scooper cabal that have heard that Sadie is Jean Grey. So, yeah. Why are you gatekeeping now, Josh? I am actually not gatekeeping. I'm going to give you as much as I possibly can, but there's something outside of gatekeeping that might prevent me from just showing you the fucking trailer right now, right? I mean, come on, think about it. Thumbnail said the stream is still waiting. I don't know what that means. What? What? Josh, did you watch John Cena's last match? No, I'm not a big wrestling guy, to be honest. I mean, I liked wrestling in the Attitude Era, and I've actually watched some like smaller circuits of wrestling, and the energy. I like wrestling. I respect wrestling, but I'm not as big of a fan as many people. So, no, I didn't actually watch that match. As I understand it, a lot of people were pretty disappointed, huh? There's that really funny meme of like John in the headlock and he looks so happy, but he's getting choked out. That's pretty wild, yeah. Drop. Alex said the trailer might be leaking. Well, I think that's just a logical conclusion. You know what I mean? Like, trust me. Look, I know what's going on, and I know why I was wrong yesterday. Like, dude, we're going to get into all of it. We're going to get into all of it in just a couple of minutes, guys. In just a couple of minutes. Let's just wait for people to get in here. And I need to take a big old chug of espresso. I like my coffee. You know what I mean? I really like my coffee. Josh, do you consider your theory that these 4 trailers are essentially prerequisite for the movies in the sense that perhaps it's meant to tell a story? Yeah, look, we're going to get into it. There's good evidence of now what all the trailers are going to be. We can't wait minutes. Just a couple minutes. Just a couple minutes. Just relax. Trust me, man. This is juicy stuff. We got a lot to get into. I've got things to say. Soups just said he watched the trailer. I don't believe him. It is completely possible that Soups and many other people have already seen the trailer, as the encryption keys for unlocking the trailer went out at midnight last night. A lot of people have watched the trailer. Do you see the fucking title of this stream? Keep the crash out card handy. I mean, look, I thought Friday maybe I was a little bit irritable and a little bit of a butthole on Friday. But I'm feeling good right now. I guess I'm not saying I want to apologize to the Star Wars fans, but yeah, I went pretty hard on Friday, and I was a little bit of a butthole on Friday. You know what? Look, I'll tell you this, to throw a bone to the Star Wars fans. Jake Schreier came out and had a rumor that said basically like his optimistic projection for the release of that game is 2030. And a lot of people were like, bro, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, that sucks, and kind of clowned on them. Well, Casey Hudson himself came out to say, like, don't believe that rumor. I'm too old to wait that long or something. And I love that. I love that energy. I love him coming out and saying that. But, like, does that mean, like, 2029? Like, what's going on here? I still think there's a lot of reasons to be skeptic of not only that game, but just Star Wars overall. I mean, I think Star Wars is cooked. I continue to believe that. But to be fair, it's not necessarily useful, or it doesn't necessarily feel good for all of my viewers, especially the ones that like Star Wars, if I'm like really, really fucking negative on Star Wars. You know what I mean? So like, I'm trying to figure out the balance too, but no, not Jake Schreier, Jason Schreier, sorry. Yeah. December 31st, 2029. Exactly, right? But look, at the same time, I like this guy coming out here and talking that talk a little bit, and bringing that sort of energy of confidence. And I think it's his baby in some ways, and he really wants that thing to be great. And nothing bad to say about Casey whatsoever, but look, he's walking into a fandom that's on edge, man. He's walking into a fandom that's ready to lose. He's walking into some shit, And so I think it's all fair play. Warhammer is obviously the future, but not everybody's figured that out yet. And so I don't, it's probably not useful for me to be such a butthole about it. It'll just happen naturally on its own. Like, you guys will figure out that Warhammer's the best. Okay. With all of that being said, should we start? Should we begin? Should we start talking about these trailers? What the fuck happened? Why did I get bamboozled by Brazil? What are you doing to me, Brazil? Killing me. Okay, let's do this shit. Let me get one more sip of coffee here, and then we're going to start this shit. Un momento, mi amigos. Relate, way. Okay. Pause the music. Okay, so yesterday I got bamboozled. That's the first thing I want to start with, is explaining why I got the trailer wrong yesterday, and also why we know it was wrong, because we actually have the leaks now. So briefly, like, what had happened, basically, guys, a lot of stuff started leaking out last week, late in the week. You'll recall we spoke about how Chris Gore was vindicated and proven to be correct, even though it's 4 trailers. Essentially, like, Chris was the first one speaking about these multiple trailers. And so kudos to Chris and Film Thread and those guys. They nailed this thing. It became clear that this was happening last week. The Hollywood Reporter dropped something late Friday. I did a video on Saturday breaking it down. We talked about it on throughout the week of streams. So it became pretty clear that this was a thing. Now, one of the reasons that people realized this was real was it came in on this like Nexus system or whatever for the trailers, an encrypted version of multiple trailers. And the way this works is these will sit there, and the theaters themselves have to wait on an official encryption key to unlock the trailers. But I didn't know when that key was coming in, and I believed it could come in at different times for different markets, etc. Right? So we knew the trailers were real. We knew there was an encryption key. There was an account based out of Brazil that posted a leak about Avengers Doomsday, and I got caught up in it. And at first, because I'm kind of skeptic by nature, right? You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit, this is probably not real, you know. But then this account posted a literal 5 minutes of footage of the Odyssey. Okay. And I was like, okay. And I watched the 5 minutes of the Odyssey, the prologue, whatever. And it's dope, dude. Like, it is lit. It is really cool. But it kind of also tricked me into thinking, oh shit, like he had the Odyssey, John. So he probably also had the accurate trailer description. Okay, I was wrong about that. So this guy basically made some shit up, then used the fact that he had access to the Odyssey's IMAX 5-minute footage to try to validate and get people to believe that he was correct. Okay, so that's how I got bamboozled. And essentially, the encryption keys did go out at midnight last night. So what happened was this Brazil account lied, and at the end of the day, look, who knows? Is this just a person looking for clout because they probably got a lot of clicks out of that? Maybe. Is this Marvel themselves trying to throw people off? Maybe. Who knows? We're going to speak a little bit more in today's stream about the sophistication of Marvel and how even these trailers might be lying to people, which is interesting, but save that thought for later. The point is, the actual trailer went out at midnight. People have it. People have unlocked it. People have watched it. Okay? And because of that, we now know that this is not, that the Brazil one was not real. Okay, so I hope that all of that makes sense. I apologize about spreading the fake rumor. I hope that you understand why I believed it. I got bamboozled. That's basically what it is. So, what's in the trailer? Well, Chad apparently is in the trailer. Get Chad off the screen, Chad. I don't ever want to see Chad on the screen again. Okay, hang on. Let me adjust this shit. What's in the trailer? Big old Giga Chad Steve Rogers is in the trailer. And more. So, first thing to explain to you, and we will go over what other folks are saying about this. Is an actual description, because again, people have actually seen this thing. They're going to pretend that they haven't or whatever, but people have actually seen it. Good chance that it leaks. In fact, if it does leak, chat, you have to let me know. You are responsible for letting me know if the trailer actually leaks. Or maybe I'll just leak it later. But the point is this. Trailer's Steve Rogers focused. It's not only Steve Rogers focused, it is not a teaser trailer in the sense that there doesn't seem to be a lot of cuts of action or fun things like that. It is actually a scene. Now, before we get into the actual description, I just want to say that this was already kind of out there. I continue to believe that a lot of the scoopers and insiders, they had access to the trailers, or they had access to the ideas of what the trailers might be around September, really, but even a little bit before that. This is why in September, and I'm gonna pull up some stuff that's gonna, like, I think blow your mind a little bit of like, oh, the scoopers in September start talking about Thor as a second lead. All of a sudden they start talking about Steve Rogers and his family, and maybe he has kids and all this stuff, right? It's just so obvious that they had access to the trailers around September. But there's a lot that changed even from September, right? And so there's a lot of changes that could have happened to these different things. But the main thing you got to take away from this is these appear, at least the first three of them, appear to be character focused. They appear to be scenes. And I mean, look, I think I know what they're trying to establish in the minds of the normies and all of that sort of stuff. And there will be a lot to discuss here with the different things and the parallels that Marvel is trying to draw between the choices these characters made after Endgame is ultimately really what it is. But this tracks with things that we had heard as far as like, look, I had some people say like this whole idea that it's going to be X-Men, Fantastic Four, and like, because remember that was like a big rumor. That's really the thing that got Majestic. Cryptic HD fucking cooked his whole career basically by putting that out, and then Majestic leapt to it and posted it as real, and then Cryptic was like, gotcha, bitch, like that's not what it is. It's not that. Well, that's because Cryptic knew likely that this is character based, that it's not going to be what it is, or what Majestic was saying it was. It's not an X-Men focused, mutant focused, and then Fantastic Four focused, and then Avengers focused. That's not what they're doing. And so with all of that being said, let's now look at an article that is describing what is in the trailer. Okay? Yeah, so here we go. Here we freaking go. Avengers Doomsday trailer footage description surfaces online, and it sounds great. A new report revealed unexpected details about Avengers Doomsday's trailer footage, and it involves one OG Avenger. Hell yeah, it does. Woo! And I'm ready. Okay, hang on, wait. Let's move this a little bit so you can see the words. We are over on the direct.com, credit to them. Avengers Doomsday trailer footage description emerged online, and the report stated that it will revolve around an unexpected member of Earth's mightiest heroes. The hype surrounding Doomsday has been high ever since news broke that the first trailer will premiere in December 2025. In the past few weeks, more details about the trailer have dialed up the anticipation, such as its unexpected release plan. This involves being exclusively screened in Avatar Fire and Ash screenings, and the trailer being split into 4 parts across several weeks. Entertainment insider Daniel Rickman shared that the Avengers Doomsday trailer will focus solely on Steve Rogers, highlighting his life after the events of Avengers Endgame. Rickman explained that the reason behind the teaser being Steve Rogers' focus is to confirm his return and establish him as the lead character in the upcoming crossover. We will come back to that. That is pretty wild. This is more for the normies than anything. And I think the hardcore nerd Avengers or watchers of the content will probably find that there may not be a ton of surprises for us in these teaser trailers. That is because we've been so dialed in and listening to all the stuff. Now, this will help cut out some of the noise and maybe give us more of a clear understanding of what's happening. But what I mean to say is, we already know a lot of the themes and the things that are happening in this movie, but the normies do not. And frankly, a lot of normies are so checked out that, like, dude, I've been like screaming at the top of my lungs about some of this shit. And although some of the videos get like good views, we're not getting like consistently big views, because I don't think like the normies or a lot of people are even really that dialed in. The trailers will change that. What the trailers will do is like create this movement, and it'll just sort of be an undeniable thing. So there's no thinking, oh, maybe it's about Steve Rogers. Like, no, it's going to be right in your face. It's about Steve Rogers, and he's back. And that will generate conversation amongst the normies and whatnot. But let's keep going here, okay? Meanwhile, another insider, My Time to Poop Hello, posted that Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom is supposed to go first, but Marvel Studios appears to have changed the order and placed Steve Rogers first instead. The insider also claimed that these 4 Doomsday trailers are 4 short scenes and that they will focus on different characters. The first trailer will be Steve Rogers showing riding home on a bike, and he has a baby boy. The trailer supposedly ends with the tagline that reads, Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Doomsday, followed by a December 2026 countdown to the movie's release. The scooper also mentioned that Chris Hemsworth Thor will be introduced in one of the trailers. This is an interesting strategy for Marvel Studios. Placing the focus on Steve Rogers would definitely surprise Marvel fans. Well, not us, but it will surprise a lot of normie Marvel fans. Okay, so that's kind of like what's going on. Okay, now let's talk about a couple of things that are in the trailer and what it could mean, and then we'll get into some concerns. We'll talk about how even the trailers could be lying, which I think is obvious. For whatever reason, I think a lot of scoopers and insiders are missing this. But if you know the history of the Russos, they hide shit in trailers. They lie in the trailers. Okay, so anyway, so Steve Rogers' scene. Coming home, riding on a bike, and by home, we clearly mean the place with him and Peggy, the world, or rather the home that he made with Peggy after Endgame, and he has a baby boy. So, pretty wild. This was something that around September, My Time to Shine had leaked out around that time because she heard about it in September and all the trailers and stuff, right? So this was something that was on our radar. And in fact, I did a members stream. We do a lot of public live streams, but we do some stuff that's extra behind the scenes for the members. One of the member streams we did was doing a watch party for an old Marvel animated movie that's actually on YouTube. And this, I think it was called like The Next Avengers or something. And it's literally about Captain America's son. And James is the kid's name. And this is an interesting movie because that's kind of where this character hails from. There is some precedence in comics as well for Cap having children in some alternate timelines and whatnot, right? But it is quite interesting that they're putting it right on Front Street, that Steve Rogers is the lead, that he is the focus, and that he has a child. Now, that will spark a lot of conversation in the fandom. And it will spark a lot of conversation amongst normies. And I think there's layers to this, right? So I think the first obvious layer, and the article points this out, and a lot of the scoopers, like Daniel's not going to let this shit go. Look, I've told you this before, but there are a lot of scoopers and insiders that, I mean, I don't really know how else to say it. They lean left, they're progressive, and they're super butthurt about Steve Rogers being the lead and coming back and overshadowing Sam and sort of, even beyond that, what I've heard is Marvel Studios sort of returning to form, going away from some of the stuff they did that was all new, all different Marvel, maybe an overcompensation of wanting to be representative, et cetera, et cetera. Look, I don't really know how else to say it. A lot of these scoopers are left-leaning, wokesters or whatever, and they're butthurt about what's happening at Marvel Studios, and they're going to fucking complain about Steve Rogers being the lead. That's just what it is. That is going to happen. But having said that, I do think it's fair to discuss that, to have those conversations, to try to dissect that, okay? At the end of the day, this is acknowledging that if they want to get anywhere near Endgame money, they have to go back to Endgame characters and Endgame story. And what I'll say to the fans of Sam Wilson's Captain America, and to the people that maybe the scoopers that are maybe a little concerned or butthurt about this, don't sleep on Sam's story. The scene in Endgame where Sam is given the shield, I think, will become more significant, and Sam's role as Captain America will become more significant based on what Steve Rogers found out about the multiverse and what's been what really has been going on, okay? That's a little bit of speculation, but I think that shit is going to happen. One of the things the Russos and McFeely are incredible at is these retcons, which is what that means is retroactive continuity, right? They're able to do these incredible retcons to add emphasis and the spiritual power of separate scenes and elements from Marvel's past, right? So, I don't think when On Your Left was written for Civil War that they knew that Sam would say On Your Left in Endgame when everybody comes back at the end when there's no hope. Do you know what I'm saying? But they're able to go back and say, hey, this is a really cool thread that fans love. How can we pay that off, make it better, and bring it full circle? They are really good at that. And so I would have to imagine that a lot of what was done with Steve and Tony in Endgame will be paid off in this story. Okay, so that's what I'll say to the people that are actually truly concerned about that. But yes, this is a move to go back to what worked before. I think it was in 2022, and maybe it was 2023, but this was when Tatiana Siegel did a huge article, I believe it was in Variety, And look, go back and read that shit. It's crazy because she knew exactly what was going on and like couched everything in this really weird way and hid stuff. But basically, like, that was the article in which they talked about how there was plans to go back to the old Avengers, that they were going back to the old, that Downey's coming back, that Doctor Doom might be leaned into. It's like weird. You can look at all of the couching and stuff that she did back then, but it was accurate. Marvel decided, they made a conscious choice that the things that were going on in Phase 4 and 5 were not working, that those characters had no motion, that to try to make a movie that would pay off all of those characters and market the film as that would be a mistake. And it looks like what they did was took ideas and concepts that they wanted to explore in the Nomad show, which we know from leaks from Bo DeMayo mostly, that was something Marvel was working on. It was a really big deal, and they couldn't crack it. It would appear a lot of those concepts and ideas, which I think Michael Waldron was completely aware of when he was writing the Loki show Bible, when he was writing the actual episodes of Loki, and then when he was writing the 17-plus drafts of Multiverse of Madness. I think he was aware of how important all of this endgame stuff and just the whole thing for going back to the old was actually going to be. Okay, so that is like what it is. Now, I'll take it one step further. I will say this. This is speculation. What I'm about to say here is speculation. But there's some people hinting that this is real, and I think this is possibly what it is. Remember, too, that around this time in September was when My Time to Shine and all these other scoopers started talking about Doctor Doom having a family and about Doctor Doom losing his family. Okay? And there seemed to be something in between the lines of what they were suggesting, that there would be a juxtaposition against Captain America and his family and the choices that Steve made, and Doctor Doom and his family and the choices that he made. And I think we're going to see that. I wonder if Marvel is going to spell it out completely or let it linger a bit. But where my head goes is that Steve, especially upon trying to return the stones, will discover something about the 616 timeline and potentially discover maybe the same thing that Doom will discover, that this is fake. It is rewritten, not what it once was. It's a lie. And yet Steve will choose to live within the lie and have a family. And I think the juxtaposition will be Doom will have a family, and, you know, maybe, yes, what Steve does destroys his family and he wants vengeance. But that doesn't feel very Doctor Doom. What feels very Doctor Doom is Victor realizing his family is fake. And instead of Steve, who decides, hey, look, maybe this is fake, but I love this kid and I love my wife and I'm going to live here, Doom may say, yo, fuck this fake ass. This is not my beautiful wife. This is not my beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, Doom might destroy it all. He might sacrifice his own world, his own family, his own son, because he's so scorned by the idea that he was given a fake life and imprisoned in this lie that he can't find the love within the prison, and he must destroy it. And look, that's just speculation, but like, I've heard some people out there hinting that there's gonna be something about Steve and his family and potentially Victor and his family and how that's all going to work together. So that's the basics of it, guys. Let's look at chat. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Then I want to talk about the concerns. I want to talk about how this might be a lie. So, yeah, what do you guys think? What are we thinking here, chat? What are we thinking about here, huh? What do you guys make of all this? Let's pause for a second and get on the same page. Bolts and F4 already put me in the MCU's back mentality. I can see Doomsday being as good as Avengers 1. Only casuals expect Infinity War and Endgame level. Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that. I expect it to be that level. The Great Destroyer. Yes. They're going to age up Steve Rogers' kid to be the new Captain America after Secret Wars, aren't they? I mean, I don't think so. That's possible. I don't actually think so. I think what they're planning is even wilder than that. Where do you put the X-Men into this theory? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. By the way, Will Bonin, I haven't seen you over here in a while, man. It's good to see you. Could you just elaborate on that in chat? I don't know exactly what you were getting at there. Doesn't even make sense when Infinity War and Endgame were the climax of multiple phases. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying there. I truly don't understand what you're getting at. Look, the way I understand this, it feels very satisfying, and I think it's going to recontextualize a lot of not only what happened in the Infinity Saga, but what's happened in the last 4 to 5 years with, all this other stuff that we don't like as much. Is the trailer being released online this week too, or next week, or at all? We don't know. I mean, I think the current plan is that they want to keep it locked to theatrical. So that, I think, is the current plan. But I also think there's maybe some flexibility there because maybe they don't want it to leak and everybody to be like, oh, man. Cool Bear says, love the Christmas decor. Sorry for going too hard on Warhammer. Wasn't trying to put you down, just memeing, my bad. Well, Cool Bear, I hope you understand that I'm human too. And so I hope I didn't go too hard. And also, buddy, like, it's all good, man. You know me by now. I fuck up. I sometimes will go things personal instead of just arguing in the realm of ideas. I think it's a totally natural thing. We're all human here. You know what I mean? But it does also mean, Cool Bear, that you cannot defend Star Wars in the realm of ideas. And so therefore you have to make personal attacks because it's cooked. But you know I love you. Appreciate you. Average says, what's your name? Why are these names changing? Why are the names changing on here? I don't see Steve allowing Doom to destroy his family, but maybe Doom captures them, and that's how they possibly work for Doom. My 2 cents. That's a cool idea. There's a lot to be explored here. There's a lot that could be happening. There's a lot they could be hiding. You know what I mean? A lot they could be hiding. My name is the same. What? Oh, okay. Your name is the same. Gotcha. How much did the Magneto helmet cost? That's a good question. I don't know. Probably like $100, around $100. Louis the Jedi says, I am not watching Avatar 4 times. I need my spoilers. I'm so hyped for Doomsday. Yeah, don't worry, buddy. I got you, man. I got you. I'm trying to figure it out. It's leaked on Twitter now. Did it really? To me, it's a super theory, but I can't figure out the X-Men are going to fit into this story. Cryptic said it leaked. Oh, shit, boys. Oh, shit. Should we watch it? Leaking in a few hours? It's leaked on X right now? Uh-oh. Rut-row raggy. Rut-row raggy. If I start watching this, oh boy. Steve Rogers and his kid. Oh boy. Oh, shit. Hey, somebody send me the link or tag me, man. Somebody send me the link or tag me. Oh, shit. Somebody just tagged me. Wait, is this some AI shit? No, that's some AI shit. Dude, you guys... I mean, I get it, because I fell for some shit too, right? But, that ain't it, dog. That's funny, though. That's funny. Whoever leaked that, you need to run. Well, dude, Cryptic, send me the goddamn fucking thing, man. I ain't scared of no ghosts. Send it to me. Send link, man. We'll put it out right here. Okay. Yeah. Maybe they got him already. They might have got him already, dude. Oh boy. Trailer leaked. Yeah, it's leaking. We'll check back in. Rossi, appreciate the $5, brother. Says, wouldn't Steve have to go back to the main timeline to stop incursions after the reset, giving fans what they wanted after Secret Wars? That's actually kind of a fun idea there, bud. I don't know. I mean, that's a possibility. It kind of depends on what they want to do. I think it's actually more likely we get a new Steve Rogers. But maybe not. Maybe not. My only concern is they won't put a lot of emphasis on Doom in the trailers and marketing. Like RDJ's Doom is the only thing that got hype back. They should play that card. Yeah, I agree with you. Now, look, the reality is Shine said there's a Doom-focused one, right? And she thought the Doom-focused one would be the first one. And apparently maybe it was at some time. They switched the order or whatever. I don't know. It's hard to say. Yo, Cryptic is out here like getting real frisky with these people, including me, which I don't really mind, to be honest. But yo, he dunked on Shine this morning, and it was pretty funny. So, look, who am I to judge anyone being snarky on the internet? I'm kind of the king of like snark and kind of being an asshole. So, if I dish it, I have to take it, right? Craig Stagg says, I wonder if we'll get any parallel to Civil War, given the whole Tony versus Steve story on a much larger scale. Team Doom, baby. I mean, yeah, I could talk. I'll explain what I think's going on with Steve and all that sort of stuff. I mean, you know, again, we sort of already went down this road because of the leaks around September. But yeah, we'll get into it. Yeah, Cryptic was wilding this morning. He absolutely was. But I like that. I mean, I'm all about it. I wish everybody would wild. You know what I mean? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. That Gary mentioned me in the video. You know, look, I don't think Gary necessarily likes me very much, and that's fine. I don't know Gary, you know. I know that I am not everybody's cup of tea. I'm very snarky. You know, I use foul language. I'm somewhat abrasive. I have a sort of strange sense of humor. But look, I respect what Gary's built. I respect what he's been able to do. I don't always agree with his takes or the things that he says, but anybody that's getting views consistently, I mean, that shit is hard, brother. Even small amounts of views are hard. You know what I mean? The algo, internet, it's crazy. One thing I always try to do is be principled and fair. It might not seem like it, but I do sort of have a code of ethics. And in a world where there's a lot of narrative that's controlled by institutional powers, whether they're the trades or even scoopers or leakers, I always try to give credit to the other voices out there that do have actual sources that do know things. I'm not saying 100% the Gene Gray thing. I'm like 99.9999. I believe the Gene thing. I have a really good source that told me it's Gene. You know what I mean? Straight up. But it's just one source, as I've tried to be very clear about it. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's cool that Gary did that. Go over the Russo's cryptic photo. I mean, I don't think there's much there with the cryptic photo or their photo, to be real. If there is, it's like, is it worth focusing on their photo or like the actual trailer that's leaking right now? You know what I mean? Nolan's Odyssey trailer still isn't out. Will Doomsday be that way too? Merry Christmas. What do you mean? Oh, you mean publicly online or whatever? Yeah, totally. That could be it. Let's see here. I don't see the trailer anywhere. The trailer leaked. Okay, it's definitely leaked. Let's go to Reddit. Reddit's probably the place for it. Is this a bad idea, chat? Should we not watch this live? Should I not stream this? Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. I can't find it, man. Ooh, maybe here. Maybe here. Warhammer Competitive, that's not the right subreddit, although I am interested in that. Okay, well, it's not, they're either locking it down really well, or I just can't find it, because I am having trouble finding it. Yeah, pretty interesting. Okay, let's move on to a couple other topics here, guys. There's plenty of time, not just today, but throughout the week to discuss the trailers. Over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be doing a lot of discussion about all of this sort of stuff. So let's talk about maybe some of the concerns here, okay? And I think the main concern is just like, dude, if this is just all scenes, then there's like a lack of action. There's potentially a lack of X-Men. There's potentially a lack of dope things that are being seen. You know, Shine is claiming that all 4 trailers are scenes that are all going to talk about different characters. And look, not to say that those couldn't be maybe the perfect way to set this up Not to say that it couldn't be exactly what the Doctor ordered, the Doctor Doom, that is. But I do think fans like myself would be. I need a little action. You know what I mean? Like, I need a little action. I want to see some dope stuff. We know the action's supposed to be insane in this. And I keep going back to stuff that, like, Chris Gore said. I keep going back to stuff that Kristen Harloff said, even stuff that John Campea has said. All of them have great sources, right? And, like Gore was saying, like, you're going to see Doom and you're going to see action. I forget the exact phrasing, and maybe I could be projecting a little bit and getting something wrong that he said. But, like, I was left with the impression that they'd be, like, fucking putting the dick on the table, so to speak, like that they were going to go for it. And we do know that there's supposed to be one of these that is Doom focused, right? And I mean, look, I guess what I'd say is, like, if it's actually all just scenes and zero action, I will be a little disappointed. You know, I will be a little disappointed. Now, to be completely fair, they have a whole year to build this thing, right? And, you know, maybe this is a great way to get the normies to kind of be on the same page that we're at. Because I continue to make this point. Marvel kind of cooked themselves so much that we're really plugged in, and we know a lot about what's going on. We don't always get everything right, of course, and there's misdirection and all that. But, like, we've been pretty good as far as following along with the breadcrumb trails and all what the scoopers are saying, et cetera, et cetera. But the normies, like that huge group of people that was watching every Endgame trailer, that was, like, catching up on the MCU when they were ready to go see Endgame, that group of people has no fucking idea what's going on. And so from that perspective, to have 4 scenes with 4 OGs, with the characters from Endgame, with, like, really making you realize, oh, we're going back to that vibe, to those characters, to that feeling, is probably exactly what is needed to get the normies on board. I think what's going to happen is they're basically going to just come to where we're at right now. And to be completely honest with you, that's fine, because that's, in a sense, what had to happen either way. I mean, the only other option was, like, they deadass never get on the same page with us. They never understand that they're cooking with the OGs, that they're recontextualizing things, that, like, this is a return to form and a change from what's been happening over the past couple of years, right? So, in a sense, this always needed to happen. Now, what I'm hoping for is that the 4th trailer is more of a true teaser, and that it has some actual action in it. So it's possible that we got, Steve Rogers and Thor, which does feel like Thor's the second one, and then Doom, and then maybe a proper trailer. Because although Shine said the 4 trailers are all scenes, I can't help but think maybe she's going off of the 3 trailer thing. Because remember, Gore was like, there's 3 trailers, then all of a sudden there's 4 trailers. We also heard there was, like, over 60 different cuts of these trailers, which makes a lot more sense if there's 4 of them. That's about 15 per, which makes more sense. And then you remember, Harloff is saying, like, there's some trailers where you'll see Cap and some trailers where you won't, right? Versions of the trailer. That's making a lot more sense now. So it is possible that the 3 trailers are story builds, and the 4th one is going to hit like a ton of bricks. I'm not saying I know that. I'm saying that's possible. I'm reading the tea leaves a little bit. I think that could be what it is, okay? Now, the other part of this that we have to talk about is how it's, to me, it is basically obvious, and I would argue essentially confirmed. Send the link, guys, if we got it. Send the link. I'll peek right here. Are we in the middle of the section about to get the leaked trailer? Let me see here. Because I see chat going crazy. I still don't see it, guys. I still don't see it. If you got it, send it. I'll keep chat open, but I'm going to kind of just keep going with what I'm saying here, okay? So, around September, the scoopers started saying shit like, Steve Rogers is the lead. Steve Rogers has a kid. The movie's really about Steve Rogers versus Doctor Doom. And then they started saying stuff like, Doom's motivation is to get Steve. Doom had a family and lost his family. Okay? And what you have to realize is all this shit started around September, and to me, it's just so obvious that they either had the trailers or they had access to people that were working on the trailers and they were reverse engineering all this stuff. I mean, like literally it all happened in September. And from there, they just kind of piecemealed out different aspects of it over time. Okay. And so it's definitely for the normies. It does feel like it's concepts from maybe what the Nomad show was going to be and how that all fits together, okay? But the other thing that's fair is that since September, a lot of things could have changed. In fact, Shine herself originally believed the Doom one would be the first one, and they've changed the order. So now they have the Captain America one. Well, if they had 15 different cuts, right, then, yeah, there's probably a lot of different versions of these trailers. And so I know there's concern. I think the most accurate way I could say it is this is marketing. It's to get a lot of the normies on the same page as where we are. I think what we have to be careful about is that the scoopers, again, it is worth mentioning that the scoopers were trying to paint all of this in as negative as a light as is possible, because a lot of them are very butthurt about sort of just going back to Endgame shit and not doing the all new, all different Marvel as much, right? So let's just understand that a lot of the way this has been framed over the past months has been purposely in a negative light. And yet, a lot of these scoopers continue to say stuff. Like if you looked at what Daniel said this morning, it was so weird. He was like, I've heard it's great. I've heard the trailer's awesome. But like, here's my issue with it. All he's doing there is hedging his bets because he realizes he cannot completely go against the grain and still sell Patreon subscriptions. And so he's not going to actually be brave enough to just come out on Front Street and say, I don't like any of this and here's why, because he still needs to placate to the fans and to the fans that are going to turn up for this. Because again, a lot of normies are going to be like, yo, this shit is dope. And they're going to get really excited about it. So he's sort of hedging his bets while also trying to still frame it negatively and complain. And look, fair play. You know, you do what you do. I do what I do. I'm just saying that that's what I think it is. So it's worth considering how the scoopers have tried to frame this negatively. It's worth thinking about how this could be cool. And, you know, I've spoken a lot about what I think is going on with Steve Rogers and Dr. Doom. And I guess let me just TLDR that for a second here to kind of explain why I think they're doing this. I mean, obviously, number one, it's just because the real MCU is really like Steve and Tony. And I think considering what I think is going on with the retcon of Tony, it'll be a more interesting way to explore that exact relationship and all of that, right? There's this idea of Steve having a kid and making a choice that I think will be juxtaposed against what Victor Von Doom chooses. But here's the other thing. We have been hearing for basically over a year, actually close to a year and a half and maybe 2 years, that Avengers Forever was going to be somewhat adapted. And really, the clues were there in Loki. The clues were there in Loki season 1. The clues were especially there in Loki season 2. Yes, he is God of Stories Loki, but he is also likely Avengers Prime Loki. Okay? Now, one of the things you have to understand about Avengers Prime Loki and of the Doom from that story, the Doom above all dooms, is that both Loki and Doctor Doom view Steve Rogers as somewhat of an antithesis to what Victor is in that story. Victor is like the ultimate tyrannical force. He's trying to destroy everything and reshape it. And in a multiverse where there is this level of tyranny and evil and control, the Soldier and Captain America represents a person in every universe that will stand up to tyranny. And so in that sense, Doctor Doom's greatest threat to his control is Steve Rogers and Captain America. But why? It's because of the story. It's because of Cap's story and how he can affect other people's story And I think there's something quite meta there that they're going to explain about what Steve did to all the characters in the Infinity Saga. I've said for a long time, Steve Rogers is the heart of that. Tony would have gone way dark. Natasha would have gone way dark. Even Hulk would have gone way dark. A lot of these characters become the heroes that they become because of Steve Rogers. Okay? And so, yes, Doctor Doom traditionally is more of an antithesis to Reed, and he has more beef with Reed. But one of the things the Avengers Forever story explored was the idea that in every universe, or in every good universe, there is a Steve Rogers, or rather a Captain America. It's not always Steve. It's not always Steve, right? But it's Captain America that will sort of create that thing of like, I will stand up no matter what. And you look at Cap, right, and him standing, I think the perfect summation of this is him standing wounded against the entire army of Thanos alone. You know what I mean? And like, that does something to people. And there's other characters even after that story, maybe a Sam Wilson, although they've done a terrible job of drawing this conclusion, right? There are other characters like maybe even a Sam Wilson who have become better because of Steve. Again, I think Marvel really fucked that up with those two characters, and maybe the Russos are the ones to bridge that gap and bring that back into the focus. But that is really what this is about, ultimately. And I think especially as more is revealed about who Victor is, who Tony was, what the multiverse is, what the Prime universe was, I think it is going to become a lot more clear what is actually going on. Now, part of that is connected to a theory that we don't know is 100% real, but part of that is connected to a theory that Steve and Thor, who very interestingly are the lead and the second lead of the film, according to some people out there, and they're both getting these first two trailers for the Doomsday rollout. The current rumor, and we don't know if this is real, but the rumor is that those two characters will go around the multiverse recruiting variants of themselves. Now, that is also an Avengers Forever thing. And they the Caps called themselves the Howling Commandos, which I thought was really, really cool. But yeah, they just went around and got a bunch of Caps, and it's that same idea of like inspiring everybody and creating resistance, and then getting a bunch of them to stand up against consolidated evil, right? And the current rumor is that in the third act of Doomsday, likely on the Void, as Doom's actual planet has been revealed, and he and a bunch of maybe Doom variants or maybe Doom bots are fighting on the Void to get to where Loki is at and get to that power, that you will see some level of multiversal Avengers coming out to fight. And I think then the juxtaposition of Captain America versus Doctor Doom will become really, really apparent. And yet I think they'll lose, which is also kind of fascinating, right? But yeah, so that's kind of like what I think is actually going on here. And, you know, all my different takes of why the Scoopers are framing it as they are, the concerns, you know, and maybe there is a lack of action in these trailers, but with a whole year, you know, they can drop the action stuff around where you would normally drop a teaser, and it will excite us all, and it will get us really, really hyped up. So those are all my thoughts on all that stuff. Would love to know what you guys think. Are you concerned about the current trailer rumors? Are you concerned at a lack of action? Are you concerned about RDJ Doom versus a Steve Rogers? Please let me know in the chat. What do you think? What do you think? I don't get how they think this story will go with normies. More than half will reject this retcon. Well, I don't. So, in my opinion, that's sort of a false equivalency, because I think the normies have already rejected the current MCU. So, like, this idea that, like, oh my God, this retcon will get rejected by the fans. I mean, I kind of think the lack of cohesion and planning and like payoffs has already turned normies off, maybe more than ever, right? And to me, and I don't know that this is exactly what Marvel is thinking, but to me, this retcon actually does something quite incredible, which is adds a new lens by which fans can enjoy all the old content. Okay? Now, look, you might be right in a sense that there's going to be a lot of fans that don't like this or that reject it. But the real question is, will they be interested in it? That's actually the more important question. From the perspective of like, hey, we had this big thing. It was the biggest thing in the world. It had a major fall off. The question is really like, well, how can we even get people more interested in it? And I would argue that opposed to break glass in case of emergency and bring Palpatine back, that this is something that not only had a foundation of story, something that they had been thinking about for years, but it's a really clever exploration of nature versus nurture. How important are the people in our lives? Like, this is actually so much more well thought out and well connected than like, hey, somehow Palpatine returned. Like, literally, guys, they paid Oscar Isaacs millions of dollars to literally come out and be like, somehow Palpatine returned. So I understand the concerns, but there's a lot of evidence that like this is way more in depth and I think will be way more satisfying than literally somehow Palpatine returned. Like, again, I don't mean to shit all over Star Wars, but it deserves it, really. It's a good meme though. Yeah, totally. After She-Hulk and Secret Invasion, we can handle this. Yeah, exactly. I think so too. Yeah. Any news about the X-Men being in the trailer? Not currently. If the X-Men are in the trailer, it's likely in the 4th trailer, and that would be, and we don't know, but that would mean that the 4th trailer breaks from the pattern of the first 3 in some ways. And even if it's just like a little sizzler of like 20 seconds of action, boom, 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 rapid cuts at the end, like I would be about that. Yeah, I'd like that. Okay. What else? What else are you guys thinking about this? Bro, no biggie, but you missed one of my supers earlier and it fits in the conversation. Okay, let me find it then. Okay. There are images of the leak. No fake, no AI. Okay, gotcha. Let's see here. Please, peace, Josh. It says trailer 1, Steve Rogers, 2, Thor, 3, Doom, and 4, a clip of special scene. Keep cooking. It doesn't really say that. That's quite interesting. Zach Tech says, fuck it, we ball. Hell yeah. If Loki shows up to Steve's house, then who's at the tree? I think Loki will have to step off of the throne. And it's also possible that when he does that, most of the universes will die. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Did I get to your VJ? Loki shows up to Steve's house, he's on the tree. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's what your question was. Perfect. I think we got it there. Ethical Prod says, what's the point of a 30 persona cast and they only show Steve, who wasn't even announced? Does it really build hype? Yeah, and the thing I would tell you is, Ethical, they had like almost a year to see how people responded to the chairs. And it wasn't enough. Not only did it not add, I mean, I would argue it didn't add any box office to Thunderbolts or to Fantastic Four, which was what that was supposed to do, by the way. But it's also just clear that, like, that's not enough. People are not excited about that, And so they looked at it and they were like, we got to go big. We've got to go big. And I think that's okay. It speaks to the damage done to the brand. It speaks to the fatigue in the genre. It speaks to a lot of different things. But ultimately, like, their job is to get a whole bunch of people excited for this and then, like, really cook something special. So, yeah. Loki can't astral project? Well, he possibly could through, enchantments and doing all of that sort of stuff. Maybe he's still there and he's using illusions. That could absolutely be what it is. But either way, he's going to get off of that chair. You know what I mean? Either way, he's going to get off of that chair. I have a feeling whatever we see in the trailer will be a misdirect of what the movie is actually about. Oh, that's my next bullet point here, actually. We're going to go over that too. Bro, let me cook for a second. What if Loki contacts Deadpool to hold the tree while Loki recruits the multiversal Avengers and he has Thor as Logan and Deadpool guards, and that's how Deadpool dies? That's kind of a fun thing. That's kind of a fun idea. I don't think that's what it is, but that would be interesting, yeah. It just dropped? Oh, shit. Where's the trailer at? Let's see. Doomsday trailer, latest. Doomsday trailer. Is it out? Did it leak? Y'all don't see shit, bro. I don't see shit, dog. Y'all are liars, man. Y'all are liars. Okay, anyway, so let's now shift into a couple other things. Let's talk about how even these trailers might be lying to us, okay? Just like chat be lying to me about this trailer coming out. Bujos. Freaking bujos. Okay, so this is going to get a little conspiratorial. I should be wearing a tinfoil stand I have for this one. But I actually think I'm onto something here, okay? And so this all has to do with the trailers. It has to do with the footage. It has to do with leakers. It has to do with scoopers. And it has to do with the Russo brothers and their ability to hide secrets. And look, man, I mean, I'm a person that believes Sadie Sink is Jean Grey or a Jean Grey clone or some shit. And Marvel's gone through an incredible amount of effort to hide that. Okay, I could be wrong on that, but that's what I believe. And I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel has gone through at least equal effort to hide some things about Avengers Doomsday. And even back in September, when the leakers started to talk about this sort of stuff, and I was like, oh shit, like they're talking about Steve having a kid, they're talking about Doom, they're talking about the incursions, this, that, second, and the third. Even back then, I was like, this could be a lie. This could be fake. Like, this could be the Russos putting fake shit out there. And in the realm of promotion, it would still technically work, but it might not be the truth. Now, the other part of this that's really interesting is a lot of reliable people, I'm talking about some of the most reliable people in the space, have said that Doom will be lying. There's a lot of scoops that came out about, like, Sylvie and Clea. These are characters that are going to be working with Doom, and yet when they find out what Doom's real plan is, they will not be so down. In fact, some of them, Sylvie, might turn on Victor at the very end after she understands what's really going on. So with so many voices out there suggesting that there's something Victor's hiding from everybody, and with so many people suggesting that Doom is manipulating everyone, I think it stands to reason that even his stated motivation and his stated purpose could be a lie. And the thing is, that's a brilliant way to hide the actual story. Because you see, if Victor is lying to everybody in the film, then you could technically accurately say in your promotion, in your trailers, and also through the leaks, that this is what Doom's mad about. This is what Doom's plan is. Because technically speaking, that will be his stated plan. And yet, if there's a lie caked into the story, there could be something else going on. Now, we'd have to ask ourselves, like, would the Russos go through this level of effort? Would the Russos go through this level of control to actually hide the truth? And I would say yes. I would say yes. Now, what's interesting about the Russos, and I know this because I've been doing this for over 9 years, guys. I've been doing this for over 9 years, and I was there as Infinity War and Endgame were popping off. And really, that was like around the time that leak culture really became prevalent. It technically started in Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was the biggest show of all time. The last 3 seasons of Game of Thrones leaked before they came out. The last season leaked October of the year before that shit even came out. Like King Bran, everything. We knew everything. And a lot of folks at that time were like, oh my God, leaks can be real. Now, what's interesting is we had leaks for Infinity War and we had leaks for Endgame. And in fact, there were accurate leaks for Endgame that came out about a week before the movie came out. Had Smart Hulk, Fat Thor, all these things. And people like myself couldn't fucking believe it. We didn't believe it. I read those leaks. I read them. And I was like, ain't no way. I was like, ain't no way this is real. And it was completely real. Now, what's interesting about that is the Russos kind of get out scot-free in that example because it was all happening and the leak culture was building as they were dropping their big movies. People were not aware that accounts actually had access. Now, some of the accounts that leaked that Endgame shit became your My Time to Shines, became your Daniel RPKs, literally. Because people looked back and they're like, oh, wow, this person actually had that info. So I was always curious, because the Russos have obviously not been back since Endgame. I was always curious, how are the Russos going to respond, and how are they going to hide secrets in this environment? Because it's a completely different environment than the ones that the environment when they made those last two movies. In interviews, the Russos have said we have clever ways to hide stuff. They've said that, and I was like, okay, we'll see. What if this is what it is? What if this is what it is? Okay, and let me just take you through what I think's going on here. I think the trailer wants to suggest to you that Steve Rogers, when he went back in time and lived with Peggy on the sacred timeline, caused incursions. And by causing those incursions, other universes, like the one where Doctor Doom was at, was destroyed. Doctor Doom lost his family because Steve Rogers chose to have a family. And yet that's not actually what happened. And in fact, what really happened was Steve found out the truth of the multiverse and decided, hey, fuck it, we ball. I want to stay in this fake-ass universe. I'll have a kid. Tony had a kid. You know, maybe he wasn't Tony, but who cares? We're going to keep this. And Victor realized the truth of the multiverse and said, yo, fuck this fake-ass family, and might have actually even sacrificed his own child, his own version of Franklin Richards, to gain power over the multiverse. That is very similar to what the Doom above all dooms, Supreme Doom from the Avengers Forever run, did, what he was cooking. And so in my mind, I'm actually saying, and by the way, some people are actually hinting that this is a thing. Like, I don't know, because it's hard, because when people are vague, it's like, what do they really mean or whatever, right? And sometimes I draw a wrong conclusion. But there are some scoopers out there that are suggesting that something about Doom will be revealed in these trailers that's not obvious. And I think this is what it is. Okay? But beyond even that, there is the question of, well, how much of the actual movie and the actual story are the Russos going to hide? And because I'm pretty confident that a lot of the leaks over the past few months have been derived from the trailers, and because I know that the Russos have lied in the trailers before, especially for Infinity War and Endgame, they used VFX or unfinished VFX to throw people off the scent. They showed us Hulk fighting in Wakanda, and he never showed up to fight in Wakanda in Infinity War, right? It was Banner in the Thing. They showed a version of Tony in the Endgame trailer that showed him not like all decrepit and dying, and so the timing was odd and didn't make sense, right? And they've done other things like that too. So the question is, like, how sophisticated did the Russos get with not only the story they're building, but how that story could have lies within it that would allow them to hide the actual story of Doomsday. And so, even though these trailers are accurate in a sense, they're going to promote the movie, and yes, I think these characters matter and all this stuff, I still believe that it's possible they're hiding some shit, and that because they are known for, like, you know, faking us out in the trailers or whatever, that there could be a lot that we don't actually realize, even after we watch these trailers, about what they're actually cooking. But that's, I mean, that's pretty wild. That's a pretty, like, conspiratorial, you know, kind of an idea. Chat, what do you think about this? Star Wars just says, let's go. Catching this one live. Doomsday hype. My name is Doom. Hell yeah. Benjamin says, can't believe we are just around the corner from some dope-ass trailers. Doomsday for life. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think? Soups has it. A lot of people have it, guys. A lot of people have it. I've explained this, but the encryption key went out at midnight on Sunday. A lot of people have seen the trailer. That's why all these leaks are happening. Y'all rookies got to wait till the yap is over for him to read your chat. Yeah, that's true. True. Yeah. Yeah, he dropped his reaction. No, I totally understand. We're not going to watch that shit. Like, you can watch it, but I'm not going to watch that shit. Bianca, thank you so much for the gifted membership. Really appreciate it. Why was Soups crying? Maybe he had something in his eye, man. Why not? Because, like, I don't need Soups' over-inflammatory, fake-ass reaction to tell me anything about the trailer. That's why. And I like Soups, but like, I'm just not gonna fucking, that's not for me, you know? I just saw the trailer reaction of Soups' eyes. Yeah, maybe he had something in his eye. How did Soups get the trailer? He did a reaction. So I've explained this, I don't know, 30 fucking times this morning, and I'm sorry because I'm not trying to get upset, but so the trailer's encrypted, and the keys to unlock the encrypted trailer, the first one, went out at midnight on Sunday, or basically at 12 a.m. on Monday. How is this not... that's what happened. Would you watch me cry / react to the trailer? Hell nah. Hell nah. I'm not into that. How did... God damn it. Now you're just trolling. Now you're just trolling, chat. Now you're just trolling me. Now, I'm literally all the way down the iceberg at the fucking 4D chess crazy level of speculation that actually could be true. We're going fucking layers deep and thinking about how even the trailers could be misdirection, and y'all want to see a motherfucker that's literally, let's go? What? You know what? I take a lot of shit back. These trailers are perfect for y'all. This is exactly what y'all need. My God. How did Soups get the trailer? Holy. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. Could you cry for us? It depends. You got some onions? Just let it on Twitter, my ass. I don't know what that means, buddy. Josh, I hope the Russos are lying. Yeah, can we talk about that? Can we talk about this like really interesting idea? Why didn't they send it to you? Maybe I have seen it. Maybe they did send it to me. Bro, quit rage baiting so we can move on. Well, first of all, I'm like really good at rage baiting. Like I'm like, I don't know, guys. Am I like top 5 rage baiters on the internet? Like, what do you guys think? I'm not trying to brag, but I think I'm pretty good at rage baiting. I guess the problem is though I get rage baited as well. Connor says, how did Soups even get the trailer? I have no idea. That's so cool that he did, though. Rossi says, who's your favorite X-Men? God damn it. Hey, bro, just tuning in. How did Soups get the trailer? You motherfuckers. Top 10? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. How did... Jesus Christ, dude. Y'all emptying the fucking piggy banks this morning just to get me going? Woo! Here we go. Welcome to the internet, I guess. How many times do we need to say? God damn it. Okay. Okay. How do we explain all this He Who Remains shit without Jonathan Major's screen time? Well, maybe they got a little Jonathan in there, or maybe they recast him. Just wanted to say much nerdy love, y'all. Hey, appreciate you, Elvin O. Why? What is going on here? I think that's Elijah, but I don't know why it's why the chat is being all weird about it. Chat, you're doing great. Yeah, you guys are doing great, man. You guys are doing great. Really super proud of y'all. Students beat the teacher in rage baiting. That's true, I guess. Yeah. How do you feel about the Doomsday trailer? Good, bad, indifferent? I think it's good, but I'm hoping that we get a little action, you know, maybe in the last one. Josh, please tell me the theater trailers aren't just character teasers. I wanted to see a proper trailer. All signs point to a lot of teasing, a lot of character stuff, and potentially a lack of action. Sorry to say. Cool Bear says, thanks for telling us how Soups got the trailer. You're welcome, Cool Bear. Is it just me, or does the teaser sound lame? I think for some people, yeah. I think for some people it's going to sound lame. Look, the real idea here is to get conversation going, right? To get conversation going, to get people excited, and to get people to understand that Evans is actually back, you know? And a lot of people just don't believe that, even though it broke in the trades, and, you know, we've been talking about it for a long time. How did Soups get the trailer, though? No idea. No idea. The movie is still a year away, so they're probably showing us more than enough for now. Yeah, I agree. Number 1, Soups. Number 2, Den of Nerds for MCU coverage. My God. It's a shame. It's a shame that Soups explained the trailer, in my opinion. I mean, I explained the trailer too. Everybody's explaining the trailer. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. How do they explain Kang if Soups got the trailer? My God. First teaser, def not worth a ticket sale. LOL. I mean, that could be fair. You could be right about that. Yeah. I guess we'll see. Crash outs are why we are here. We love the real takes. Excited for your trailer breakdown once you see it. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Look, no disrespect to Soups, man. I actually really like Soups. I've defended Soups in the past, but I'm also not going to the content doesn't do anything for me. You know? It won't be Thor next week. Surely it'll be someone else that we know isn't in the movie. Hugh or Toby. I think it's probably Thor, man. Brad Spectrum says Marvel messed up by releasing this trailer in cinemas. Did they, or are we currently like? Because here's like what do we got going on here? Okay, so we got like what 1,500 people watching. So let me just explain it to you like this: did Marvel mess up, or are we having one of the most watched live streams we've had in months? And the whole thing is starting. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you are saying they messed up because it got out and people are talking about it, and yet they want everybody to be talking about it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just not sure that they're actually fucking this up. I actually think this is a great way. And by the way, what do you think is going to happen next Monday? I'll give you guys Can anybody predict? What might happen at midnight next Sunday/Monday? Anybody got a fucking prediction of what might happen next Sunday? Anybody, chat? Anybody? I'm hearing the trailer was leaked. Yeah, me too. Yeah, of course. Like, this whole thing's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. The other key goes out. Come on, man. How did Soups get the trailer? If you ask me 10 more times, I will answer. Josh, what do you think will be our next big snap moment? It has to be the snap. And do you think Doomsday or Secret Wars? I think it'll be like the creation of Battleworld. Yeah. Why release it in cinemas when it would get leaked? Well, 2 reasons. I mean, they want to push people to Avatar. And look, there's a lot of people that aren't super dialed into the point where they're like, they know that it's leaked, or they're going to watch this stream, or they're going to watch Soups' thing or whatever, right? So that's part of it. And I think the other thing is like, dude, a lot of people are just going to see Avatar, like boomers that aren't as plugged in. And you need to go tell these boomers, like, hey, we're going back to Steve Rogers, so that they give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what it is. Yeah, exactly, Prez. If you send me a $500 super chat, I'll explain why Soups got the trailer early. Josh, I predict my wife will leave me after buying 4 tickets to Avatar. Damn, hide the receipts, dog. Josh, this just shows the levels of appeal the hype Marvel has by the balls, even with their downfall. Yeah, I agree. But it's still not where it was, right? So this whole thing is to kind of, get us back to that, right? Checked Reddit, no trailers as of this time. Only a blurry image of Cap and a head of a baby. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why do you not have any novelty baubles on your tree? It's just like a cheap-ass kind of fake tree we got or whatever, right? Do you even like Soups, though? Yeah, I do. I'm cool with the character piece. Let's see here. I'm cool with the character piece teasers. Save as much action as possible for the movie, and it'll blow my mind in real time. That's true, and I think there's going to be a release of the action as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're going to be like, you know what? No action. Like, come on, man. Of course. Hey, Josh, ironic how Steve is number 1 when Nomad November 2026. I don't think the Nomad show is coming. I mean, look, Bo could be wrong in a sense that maybe after he was no longer with Marvel, they actually figured it out. But, like, I kind of believe him, you know? Will Cap be old or young? I think he will be maybe a little bit older, but essentially the guy that we saw in, like, he's not going to be the fucking Joe Biden homie. He'll be the guy that got onto the platform, you know? So more like the nomad that we knew from Endgame. 1.6K in chat today. Woot woot, better not mention Warhammer. Hey, by the way, all you 1.6 motherfuckers, I love Warhammer, and it's great. You should get into it. Thanks for reminding me. Oh, shit. Everybody left. We cover Soup's reaction already. Yeah, we already reacted to his reaction. Action is easy to write. I want to make sure there is good writing and character development this time around. Good that it will show some acting instead of special effects and explanation. That's a fair take. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. Yeah. I think everything still ends with Old Man Cap sitting on that bench, Sam asking if he's going to tell him what happened. Yeah, fair. That could be a cool closed thread. Yeah. Is RDJ Doom going to be DH'd a little bit? I think everybody's going to be DH'd a little bit. Yeah. What do you think the other trailers will be about? I think the one will be about Thor. Potentially even that, like, Love Girl, or like just where Thor's at. I mean, the Thor one could be really interesting, actually. Because Thor's part in this is supposed to be a big deal, but it's kind of hard to, like, draw a conclusion as to why. He is certainly wayward after Endgame, but, you know, is this something to do with eternity? Is this something to do with the gods? I'm not really sure. Steve Rogers is trending on Twitter. I mean, and again, look, I've said this before, because the last couple of months were like, yo, this is crazy, but it didn't like catch on. You know, like the normies, the wider audience wasn't aware. It was really like the really nerdy people that were still fucking with Marvel after all these years, and we were like, oh wow, this is real, this is cool. But until it comes out like this, it's not gonna like trend, it's not gonna be in the trades, it's not gonna blow up. Like, this is the time. Like, this is how that shit happens. And a lot of people just aren't gonna listen to old Josh on his live streaming channel. They're gonna need to, like, know that it's real. And that's fair, you know? Buffer Overrun says more people will go to see Avatar week 1. Getting Cap in the first makes the most sense to drive engagement. Marketing funnel 101. Yes, in the sense that it is, like, the most important thing to get across to people is that we're going back to Steve Rogers and he's the lead. And there's something about his, like, they just want to, basically they want to tell the normies that, like, everything we know, that there's something that happened after Endgame with Steve that is incredibly important to understanding the Doomsday story. And that is obvious to us, less obvious to the people that haven't been paying attention, right? Connor says, we will get on board with Warhammer when you tell us how Soup's got the trailer. Cold Toria says, do you think there's any connection between Reed and Sue not trying for a kid for 2 years and Franklin being Doom's kid in a different universe? That is a really cool idea. I didn't miss your super. I just went over it. That is a really cool idea. I'm going to completely steal that. Tell everybody it was my idea and my theory. I'm going to make a big thing about that. So thank you. 1.5K in chat. And the likes are that low? Common nerds. Yeah, I mean, y'all should like the video. I'm not going to press you. I mean, it's a cool moment. It's a cool stream. This is cool. You know what I mean? But like the video. I don't think these are necessarily trailers, more like lore drops to help people understand the story. I don't think what we see will also be in the movie. Maybe there are mini episodes. Yeah, so kind of going back to, like, the main point of this particular segment, you know, I truly think that just like in Infinity War and Endgame, what is shown in the trailers could be misdirection. And look, at the end of the day, like, here's what it is, right? Like, I try to figure shit out. I'm like internet detective, super fan. You know, I'm constantly trying to figure stuff out. And if the Russos figured out a way to throw people like me off, that is awesome. I'm not mad about that. I don't care about necessarily being right, although I do think I am right quite often. It's more like, if I'm internet detectiving this and they figured out a way to throw all the internet detectives off, then I'm still going to have fun speculating. I'm still going to have fun trying to figure it out. And then I'll be fucking surprised and blown away when the movie happens. It's a win-win. And it reminds me a little bit of, like, people that make viruses and people that make antivirus software. It's a sort of always a back and forth where like, oh, this new thing is going to shut down all these viruses, and then the virus people are like, oh yeah, well, we're going to figure out a way around that, and then the antivirus people are like, we're going to figure out a way around that. It's like a game of chess, right? I think that's awesome. If they truly figured out a way to throw us all off, and we will actually genuinely be surprised, that's impressive shit, dude. Like, that's impressive, right? So we'll see what happens. The Orfera Protocol says, going on the 18th premiere night, will I see the Doomsday trailer? Certainly. I've heard only starting the 19th. No, you'll see it. It should be attached even on the 17th, I believe. Cool says their cast announcements simply that leading to a proper trailer. The cast announcements were really for Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. The idea of the cast announcement was to increase the box office of those two movies by showing you that they will connect to Doomsday. And frankly, I don't think it worked. And that's possibly why they dialed promotion up even more. But we'll see. What about Steve with the baby? Yeah, so that's probably James Rogers. You know what's really crazy about that? What if Bucky is actually James Rogers and not James Buchanan Barnes? I know, that's way too crazy, right? That's way too crazy, but... the leak was 2 screen caps with Steve and his baby. Bro looks younger than Endgame young Steve. Okay, good. Good. Yeah. Josh, get my Star Wars out of my goddamn mouth. Lots of love, bro. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's end that segment there, and then I guess we'll just chill for a little bit and talk about whatever y'all want to talk about, and then I'm going to get out of here. By the way, hate to drop the bad news, but no stream tomorrow. No stream tomorrow. I got to cook some content, okay? No stream tomorrow, but this one's a big deal. And yes, the stream on Thursday will be epic. I don't know exactly the timing, but we will stream on Thursday after I have already seen the trailer. Yeah. And we'll have a stream Wednesday. We'll have a stream Thursday. Probably have a stream Friday, but no stream tomorrow. I got to cook some content. Yeah. Other than that, guys, I guess what I would say is we're in the Doomsday now. You know, like, we're in the Doomsday. A lot of people doubted that these 4 trailers would exist. A lot of people doubted that. I think the next 4 weeks are going to radically change how the normies are viewing this movie, and I think that's good. And we will continue to theorize. We'll continue to cook stuff. I've got some really fun ideas that I want to put in videos, etc. Yeah. You just admitted you haven't seen the trailer. Did I, though? At what point do you think we'll see some X-Men in the marketing? The earliest would be one of these trailers. Hopefully, potentially, maybe the 4th one. I'm not really sure. You know, we'll see. We'll see what they are. Dang, early stream missed the start. We'll catch replay. Yeah. We had to go early today, dude. Things were too crazy. We had to go early today. When do you think they'll drop an official trailer, like online? I would argue the earliest that happens is next Monday, but we'll see. What about the Spidey Hulk news? Do you want to talk about that real quick? So there's two new things that are out there about Spider-Man Brand New Day that are kind of interesting. One is potentially Gray Hulk, which is wild. And the other is that the hand will be in this thing, that there will be hand ninjas, and they're going to look just like the hand ninjas from comics, okay? I'm pretty sure both of these come from Alex Perez. Maybe one of them came from Daniel. But that is kind of wild, okay? And so Gray Hulk, right? What's the deal with Gray Hulk? Well, actually, it's kind of funny. I think Hulk was actually supposed to be gray originally, and there was literally a problem at the printer that made him green. Okay, so that's like kind of a wild like throwback thing. There's a great book called Hulk Gray, and man, those were great books, like Spider-Man Blue, Daredevil Yellow, and it explored early Hulk, and he was gray in that. There's also been versions of Gray Hulk that are like intelligent. So like, for instance, Mr. Fix-It is a very popular version of Hulk that was a Gray Hulk that I think was in Las Vegas or San Diego and was a mob boss and wore a fedora and was like really cool. I think Joe Fix-It is connected to that story as well. I'm not entirely sure how, but yeah. So look, there's precedence for Gray Hulk. I guess, look, right now, there's kind of a rumor. There's like two kind of rumors going on with Hulk. That he is potentially unstable and maybe being mind controlled a little bit. And also it's possible that different aspects of his personality are going to be kind of like manifesting. Okay. So like, for instance, if Professor Hulk is one character, and then maybe Gray Hulk is like a version of that where he's maybe just as strong as regular Hulk, but also intelligible. You know, maybe that could be what it is. It's possible that the villain of the film, whether that's Jean Grey or some telepath that's messing with him, it's possible that like this telepath is trying to draw out and pull out these different aspects of Hulk, right? And one thing that could be going on here is Hulk might become so savage, like more savage than we've ever seen. He might actually even kill somebody in this film. Okay. And you kind of have to wonder, like, okay, so how could they be cooking that? How could they be building that up? And what does Grey Hulk have to do with that? And then we've also heard that, like, look, there's maybe Hulk's in Doomsday, maybe not. Maybe Brand New Day is the way to take the Hulk story out of Doomsday, just like Peter's story might be out of Doomsday, and put it in that. But we expect Hulk in Secret Wars. Okay? And if you look at the concept art, and this is kind of echoed in some of the things the leakers are saying as well, is that Hulk in Secret Wars may well be an intelligent Hulk that is also really strong and good. But we've also heard that maybe Maestro Hulk is a thing. And so I'm starting to think that, like, okay, whatever's going on with, like, Gray Hulk here, whatever's going on with the manipulation of Hulk, what if it's to create, like, either a variant of him or to, like, create a future scenario in which he becomes, like, future imperfect Maestro Hulk? Because, dude, look, here's the thing. When they say the most savage version of Hulk ever, that's the Maestro. Like, dude, Maestro Hulk is, like, you guys are actually not ready for Maestro Hulk. Like, you're legitimately not ready for how twisted, fucked up, and dark and evil that character is. Okay? And it's like, okay, so how are we going to get that? How are we going to get that? How are we going to get to that? Well, maybe this is how. Maybe the separation of these personalities, maybe some manipulation by Jean to create either a future scenario or a branch timeline where Hulk turns super evil. I'm not really sure. What if it's like multiple Hulks in this movie? Which, again, that sounds so fucking crazy, but like, what if there's a Hulk from a different universe in this movie? And what if Jean, or, you know, Goblin Queen, Madam Pride, or whoever this is, what if this person is making Hulk think he's the one that's doing all this crazy shit when actually there's a separate Hulk, a Maestro Hulk is in there fucking shit up, and they're trying to use him as a patsy, the regular Hulk. Right? These are all concepts and ideas. I don't really know, okay? Now, the other part of this is the hand ninjas. The hand ninjas. And I think there's like a concern here with the hand ninja shit of like, okay, are they doing lame-ass Frank Castle? Because there was that symbol we saw on that tank. Frank's driving the tank. Is Frank working with the hand? And the trouble with that was, like, this was an initiative by Marvel where they kind of, like, wanted to change Punisher because they didn't like the logo and they didn't like all the associations of, like, you know, military people, police people, and all this stuff. I don't think that's what's going on. I think people jumping to that conclusion are wrong. I think if that did happen, then they bamboozled Bernthal, because Bernthal literally came out and said, you know, these military people, these police officers that have the symbol, that wear that skull into the line of fire, I make this shit for them. I make this shit with them. He's pretty explicitly standing with those folks, and he's pretty explicitly supportive of what the Punisher means to some of those people. Okay? So you'd have to believe that Marvel literally tricked Bernthal into doing something in the film that actually goes against all of that shit, which, like, maybe, and that would be whack, but I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think the Hand are just involved. And the Hand, they're either involved because of something nefarious that's going on with, you know, some of the characters in New York and maybe a power vacuum or, you know, something like that. Or it's more of this Doctor Doom manipulation. It's more of this causing chaos and trying to make Peter super preoccupied, right? So that could be what's going on. But I mean, damn, dude, this movie sounds packed, dude. Hulk, Punisher, potentially, you know, Jean Grey, Grey Hulk, Hand Ninjas, Scorpion, Mind Control. Like, there's a lot of wild stuff going on in Spider-Man. I think we're going to get more stuff coming out. But sure, yeah, it's worth maybe talking about that stuff. So what do you guys think about that? Grey Hulk and all that. JJ the Demon Beast, wow, what a name, says Hulk was gray because of printing limits and Stan wanted him to look like a monster. Yeah, that's the initial reason, but just like everything in comics, there was retroactive continuity added to that. So other writers and artists took that idea and played with it and had fun with it. Zach says, holy shit, Grey Hulk, I'm working, so missed the first part of this take, but I don't want anything other than Savage Hulk. Much love, Josh. Well, hopefully you caught the tail end of that, what I was saying, because I think you're going to get it both. What if it was actually the Void that caused Bruce to become unstable during the Thunderbolts event and created the Grey Hulk persona? Something like that could be going on. Yeah, something like that could be going on. Holy, I just saw a scene of Doom walking up to Steve's house and Steve's answering the door. Real. No, that is AI. That is fake. Fallout Season 2 premiering earlier tomorrow. What? For real? Yo, I can't wait. Oh, Fallout tomorrow. Let's go. Let's go. Nerderotic confirmed your Jean Grey scoop. And yes, I appreciate that, Gary. Thank you. I'll watch the video later. Just to be clear, though, he's not just saying I'm right. He's saying he heard it too, right? Just to be clear, he said, I've also heard this. I just want to be clear because I didn't watch the video. Either way, I appreciate it, Gary. You think they dropped Spider-Man trailer this week? Avatar exclusive? No, brother. No, I don't think so. I mean, it could have. I don't think so. Is the picture of Steve Rogers on X real? Well, there's probably more than one picture of Steve Rogers on X, and I would say that, you know, there's probably some fake ones, there's probably some real ones, yeah. Yeah, he wasn't supposed to save for another week. Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Wonderful. And by the way, Gary and I could both be wrong, but it is a little weird that two dudes that have pretty good sources are hearing the same thing. And again, I put all the evidence. And by the way, shout out to Warren from Cosmic Wonder as well. Warren, you can always hit me up or DM me if this gets to you or whatever. I really appreciated him giving a shout out to my, you know, report on that as well. I know there's been some differences. I think Warren kind of viewed me as like a toxic, like hater, and I was really turning on Marvel, which is so ironic because there's still a bunch of people that think I'm like a total shill and shit, but it's just the internet. And I've always said, like, I have nothing against Warren. You know, maybe in the past I had said some shit or whatever, but I don't have anything against Warren. And I think we both love Marvel. We both want to see Marvel get back on track. We're both excited about what's coming, you know? So I appreciate all those guys shouting us out, you know? It was kind of obvious she was going to be Jean. I mean, I think so, but hey, it is what it is. What about the Russo's post? I got to be honest, guys. I think that's a wild goose chase. I don't think the Russo's post is really worth the energy that you might want me to put into it. I think it might be a little misdirection from like the actual leaks that are happening, but yeah. What if we're all wrong and it's a Bruce Banner Grey Hulk variant working for Doom and Sadie Sink? Yeah, there could be something to that. Yeah. Disney are going to dominate now with Zootopia and Avatar. Yeah, very possible. Very, very possible. Yeah. Yeah. Not saying altruistic, but they just want goodwill. It's that simple. This whole week is an act of Marvel extending an olive branch to YouTubers, pundits, and scoopers. I kind of agree with that, yeah. Look, and it's all good. That's what I can say, is it's all good. Were there some moments that I went a little hard on them? Sure. I'm a fucking passionate fan. Like, I love these properties, man. And the thing is, too, about Endgame specifically and Infinity War specifically, and you talk about Warren and Cosmic Wonder, you talk about Soups, Matt Ramos, you talk about Gary, you talk about any of these people. Most of us had somewhat of a formative experience with Marvel around that time. It was truly great. It was a truly incredible moment. And as a nerd, like, one of the things is, like, as a nerd, right? Like, I'd always be that guy at work, when I worked in the restaurant industry, that, like, if some nerdy shit happened or there was, like, a rumor or there was a movie coming out, people would come to me and maybe ask me some stuff here and there. But, like, when Infinity War and Endgame were cooking, bro, everybody at work would, like, constantly be asking me shit. I had people that were clowning on Marvel for years that would be like, okay, look, hey, there could be something cool about this. What do I need to watch? This, that, second, and the third. And so to go from that place and to have those feelings, to then sort of watch the slow fall off, to watch the mishaps, to watch all the goobly glob, yeah, I reacted to it, and maybe I reacted a little harsher than some or whatever. But at the end of the day, what all of this is really about, and I think it's just it's inherent in the trailers, it's inherent in the marketing, it's really inherent in the behind-the-scenes changes that Marvel is trying to make. We're trying to get back to blowing fans' minds. We're trying to get back to that Endgame feeling. And I appreciate it. I think even Gary, because I don't really know Gary, I just see him talk a little here and there on social media. I think even Gary would say, like, he hopes Doomsday is incredible. And if it is incredible, he will talk about that. He will celebrate it, in a very Gary way, no doubt. But, like, that, I would imagine he feels that way. I think a lot of us feel that way. Jeremiah Noble says, hey, Josh, the Canadian lad shout out was hype. Oh, yeah? Did the Canadian lad shout us out as well? That's great. I really appreciate that, especially because there's certain other channels out there that literally steal my content. They don't actually steal the content, but that's what you guys think. They watch the show and act like they don't, right? There's a lot of content creators out there that they are not giving me my fair due. For whatever reason. It's fine. I don't really think about it a lot, whatever. But conversely, those that do give us our credit, those that do shout us out, I really appreciate it. So thank you. Yes, let's get back to the blowing, please. I don't know what that means, but yes. The blowing minds. Okay. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck you talking about there, brother? Oh, Eric Voss been giving you credit? I mean, Eric has given me some credit in the past. I don't recall him giving me any credit recently, but that's okay. I've seen Josh from Den of Nerds more times in the last 2 weeks than ever on social media. That's cool. And we're just getting started. He did like 2 weeks ago? Oh, that's incredible. I'm glad you told me that, because I didn't see that, and I really appreciate that, Eric. Eric's given me shout-outs before. My Ahsoka big theory that blew up after Ahsoka Season 1, he really did a lot to put people onto the fact that I had that theory, and he thought it was a great theory. So, and I, look, I don't always agree with how some of these channels make their content, but I mean, fuck me, because they get a lot of views, right? So, like, they're obviously doing great. It's just, we're different. I think about things a little different, and I maybe make my content a little bit different, and maybe there's a less appeal to the way I do things. That's fine. I can live with that. But I also do appreciate the shout outs and whatnot, because, like, look, it's it's going to come across as maybe a little bit of an ego thing or whatever, but like, dude, I feel like I'm pretty good at this. You know, like I feel like I'm pretty good at this, and I feel like I'm getting better. And in fact, I might be better than ever right now. You know, which, you know, not to dig up dramas of the past couple of months, but like there's a certain thing that comes with that when you feel like you're at the top of your game, you know? But yeah, I appreciate it. 500 that Doomsday makes $3 billion. I don't know if I want to make any more bets. Fuck, man. Maybe when we get a little closer. $3 billion is wild, dude. Yo, how many of you think they could make $3 billion on this? Because if $3 billion's coming, I say it comes in Secret Wars. I don't think it's Doomsday. Although, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, no chance. I don't think so. Look, if Doomsday makes $1.5 billion, that's a hit, especially these days, man. I guess we should wait and see what Avatar 2 does. Because Avatar 3, rather. Because Avatar 3, I don't know. People keep telling me it's not going to make any money. Isn't it like about to open higher than Zootopia 2? Been watching your hype speculation videos for years. Love your imagination. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm going to keep doing my thing. And for those that like it, you know, I'm going to try to do it even better. Have you seen the Sammy J video where he theorizes that Brand New Day could be a villain Ogon, Japanese demonic spirit and manipulate and possess people? Could that be true? There could be truth to that, yeah. No way in hell it comes close to $3 billion. Yeah, I mean, that just seems so unlikely in today's environment. You know? But like, you know, you kind of got to recalibrate. Like, isn't it possible, like, to me, if Doomsday and Secret Wars both make over $1 billion and they bring fans back to Marvel, that's a fucking dub. It's a fucking dub, dude. You don't need that shit to make you $2-3 billion. It could, I guess, but really, Marvel was although Marvel has some huge movies, what Marvel really did and what people are fucking jealous of, like the reason Zaslav got gone to be the Marvel guy, is not because they made a lot of money on any one particular film. It's that they were able to make profitable movies multiple times a year for years and years and years. That's what Marvel wants to get back to. In a sense, overspending on Doomsday, because think about this. Even if they get to that 1.5, how much money do you think they're making? We just heard that basically Deadpool & Wolverine made $5 of profit and it all went to Rob Liefeld. You know what I mean? I'm being facetious, but like meaning the shit did not actually make that much money. Dude, it doesn't actually matter the profit margin of Doomsday and Secret Wars. It does not matter. What matters is, can Marvel now, after this, in its reset universe with its X-Men franchise, can Marvel make profitable movies multiple times a year for years and years to come? That's what they're really after. But, you know, to be fair to the conversation about the box office and everything, I totally get it. It is a metric by which these films are judged. I think they're both a lock for over $1 billion. My gut tells me Doomsday could crack 1.5. If Doomsday properly sets up Secret Wars is the one that could crack 2. Secret Wars is the one that could really pop, in my opinion. And you just look at the pattern of Infinity War and Endgame. Infinity War is great and made buku bucks, but Endgame is the monster. Endgame's the part 2. You know what I'm saying? All right. Anyways, guys, hey, look, I really, really appreciate you. We got a lot of new faces in the chat today. Fantastic to see. And I think a lot of folks are kind of just waking up to like, oh shit, this trailer stuff is real. Oh my God, Marvel's really cooking. And that is dope as hell. By the way, we have an incredible amount of content planned in 2026. Not only will we do a lot of content in the next 4 weeks about the trailers and about the film, but when that is all said and done, we'll try to make sense of what they're telling us, what they could be hiding from us. And then going into 2026, we have a ton of content getting ready for Doomsday, getting ready for Spider-Man as well. But really, getting ready for Doomsday. So it's a hell of a good time to be subscribed, to like the video, to become a member if you want to get all the extra bonus stuff. It's a good-ass time to be a Nerdvenger. These next 2 years are going to be insane. So I really appreciate everybody being here. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to get on out of here. No stream tomorrow. Don't be mad. Big video. I'm going to do a big video instead, and then we'll be back at it Wednesday. We'll be back at it Thursday. We'll be back at it Friday. Really appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for being here. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.
The following program, though incredibly nerdy, is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised, and you probably shouldn't watch if you're an overly sensitive pussy.
Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Oh man, people are starting to find out what we've known for some time. But this was always going to happen, and it's a cool moment. And everyone is welcome to get hyped and excited about Doomsday. Gonna be a good couple of weeks. Gonna be a good couple of years. Gonna be a good couple of Avengers movies, hopefully. Make sure you are spending some time with family and doing things you enjoy. The spirit of the holidays, the spirit of Christmas is real. I love this time of year. I love how people act and how people get on. And amongst all of this stuff and amongst all the stressors of the real world and amongst everything that is happening, it is important to ground yourself in the love and the fellowship of this time of year. Please get out there, have some fun, spend some time with the family, call your aunt and uncle, call your mom, call your grandma, call these people, and just tell them, I've been feeling the holiday cheer, and I just wanted to say I love you. I'll see you at the holidays or something. Just that, the more you put out, the more you're going to get back. And now's the time to do it. Rossi says Star Wars is back, baby, 100% mother of pearl. I'm going to get out of here on that note. Thanks, Rossi. I hope you get fucking cold. Everybody else, though, I hope you have a good time. Enjoy yourselves today. I will see you later on. Do me a favor. Actually make it 2. Open up your third eye and wash out your stinky, stinky butt hole.